In this video, I'll show you how I built my custom GPT using Python and connected it to Zapier API. But before that, let me give you a little bit background of custom GPTs. OpenAI has finally released their GPT store where there are multiple GPTs listed and you can use any of them if you have ChatGPT Plus subscription. So these custom GPTs are tailored for a very specific use case and they are also given some access to external tools so that it can serve the user accordingly. For example, as you can see, your AI research assistant searched 200 million academic papers from consensus, get science-based, etc. So basically, this is a GPT that have access to around lots of academic papers, and based on that, it can assist you and so on. Right now, we are able to create these custom GPTs by clicking this create button and using the ChatGPT UI, and we are only able to use it within the ChatGPT interface. We cannot integrate it into our website or we cannot own it as our own built stuff. There are some no-code platforms such as VoiceFlow where you can create your assistant and connect it to custom actions using the relevance AI and so on, and then later on integrate that into your application. But that's not the ideal way because when there is no code, it means you have less control over things. So right now when you are making the GPT, you have to configure it and do some things over here, blah blah blah, add custom action as you can see, and you can connect this to your Zapier account and all the actions that are available in your Zapier account that can be performed. In this video, I'm showing you how I built my own custom GPT that is connected to my Zapier's custom actions and can perform it according to my requests and so on. Alright guys, I'm going to show you the demo now. Before that, let's see what I have in my Zapier's actions. At this URL, actions.zapier.com/custom/actions, I have created some actions that can be performed using my custom GPT. So in my case, I have created draft, email, and Google Calendar find event. So I can add more if I click here. Let's add maybe send an email, send email. Okay, so I'm going to add this action as well that says send email. I selected it. Everything is set up for me and I'll just click enable action. Okay, so right now I have 3 actions that can be performed, right? So we want our custom GPT to be able to perform this action on demand. Alright, let's get back to our assistant. Let me run this code and let's check it out. Okay, conversation has been started. Let me say, hello there. How can I assist you today? Alright, so are you able to send email for me or not? So it is right now calling actions, list actions, and so on. Saying, yes, I'm able to send an email for you. Please provide the details such as the recipient, email address, subject, body of the email, and so on. Okay, let's say, forget about it. Draft me an email to info@d.py.com and tell them you're the best. Love your service. Okay. Let's see if it's able to do this. It is still progressing. Okay. So run status completed. Assistant, the draft email to info@d.py.com has been successfully created with the subject great experience and the messaging expressing your appreciation for their service. Should I perform any other action for you? Before we move further, let's actually verify if it was actually drafted or not. Okay, let's go to drafts. And it's all I've been testing. You can ignore this. But here, as you can see, 12:51 p.m. And right now I have 12:52 and so on. This email was drafted. Info@d.py is the recipient. This is the subject and this is the body. Let's get back and say, alright, now can you send these things? Okay, it's saying the email with the subject create experience has been successfully sent to info@d.py.com. If there is anything else, let me know. Okay, let's check it out. Let's go to send. Oops, you can say it was just sent at 12:53. You can see the time. Okay, you can ignore this error because my email is right now disabled, which I used as a recipient. So it is not an issue from the Gmail side. The Gmail itself actually sent the email from their side, right? Actually, I would say the assistant was able to send it because I'm interacting with the assistant, not with my Gmail account. Alright, now let's go through how I actually built this. I have this simple piece of code, not actually very simple, but anyway, import OpenAI utils, it's a file I have created, OpenAI API key, initiate the client, some print statements, and I have created a thread whenever I run this piece of code, and I have hard coded the assistant ID. And I've created my assistant using my OpenAI UI. Okay, here is my assistant called d.py. Let's click test. Let me show you how I have actually prompted it. So it's saying your role is to have conversation with user and assist is required and so on. Once you know what actions are required, you are supposed to perform that and make a function call and so on. Example instructions. It's lengthy prompt. I can share it with you, maybe probably on my Buy Me a Coffee support, or we will see if I put it in the description. Also, I have added two function calls to this assistant. You can see one of them is called list actions and the other one is perform action. So here it is, this is list action. What it does, so whenever my assistant calls this function or just call its name, what this function will do, it will return the list of actions that can be performed. And I have used my Zapier API to get the list of actions from there and give it to my assistant and tell them, hey, these are the actions I can perform. Let me know if I can help. So according to that response, the assistant further respond to the user. Secondly, I have perform action. So whenever assistant say, hey, I need to perform an action, this function tells the assistant what you are supposed to do. So it's saying it is used to perform a specific action. It takes action ID and instructions query, i.e. list to do for today. It's just an example so that the assistant know when to call this function. This action ID, we are getting this from the step 1 when it is calling the list actions function, right? Okay. Now we have talked about the assistant, we have prompted it, it have two function calls and using GPT-4 turbo model. That's it, nothing else. Okay, let's get back to the code. Here is a variable, empty variable, conversation started, print statement, and here I have while loop. So we can continue our conversation as long as the user does not quit it. Alright, as soon as we get the user input, we added a message to a thread. In this step, we are actually adding a message to a thread which we built previously over here, right? So once this message is added, we are creating a run. So by run, what I mean is the assistant starts to generate response for the latest user's message. And then in while loop, I have a timer of 1 second. It is retrieving. If the run status is completed, it means the assistant has responded and there is no actions to be taken. It will just get the response from the assistant and show it to the user by printing it, right? But if the run status requires action, it means the assistant wants to perform some sort of action. So in our case, so what we are doing, we are getting which action is the assistant calling right now. If I.function name is list actions, then we are calling this function which we have defined in our utils file. It is called get list of available actions in Zapier. Let me show you. This is the function it is calling. It have the URL access.zapier.com/API/v1/exposed. Make sure this last slash is very important. If it is not here, it does not work. And it's been a headache for me. Okay, it's a simple API call. Once we get the response, we are creating a large string using the data we get from this API and return it to the assistant. And similarly, the other function is also here, access.zapier.com v1 exposed. So here it takes the action ID that needs to be executed. This ID will come from the assistant itself because it knows which action to be performed, right? This is the identification of the function. So we are just making API call to this URL, and we also have some JSON body that takes instruction as a string, and that's it. It just returns you the response, whether if it was successful, what happened, if it generated some sort of error, what was the error. So whatever response we get from this function, we returns it to the assistant, and then assistant is able to respond back to the user, hey, what actually happened. Okay, whatever response we get by calling this function, we are storing it into this array called tool response. And once we have got our function called responses, we finally return it to the assistant, and then let the assistant run once again, and the loop continues. It will come back over here and check again if the status is completed. It just prints this statement. Alright, so it was a quick explanation of how things are working in this custom GPT. If you think you guys are interested and I'm getting good response, I'll make sure to create detailed videos step by step how to create these assistants and so on. Right now, I just gave you the overview of how things are working. I know many things might be going above your head and so on because I have not paid that much attention and details to my wordings and so. Anyway, this code will be fully available for the premium supporters. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, guys. Make sure you are hitting the subscribe button. If you have any question, leave them in the comment section below, and I respond to every single comment that comes in my eyesight. I never ignore it on purpose. Thank you, guys. Bye bye.